Going live. Oh, I'm live. Okay. Hi, friends. I know I'm a little bit later than usual with the, wow, I really should have looked in the mirror. What is going on, Jacqueline? I looked in the mirror like 3 hours ago. Until then, I haven't really, okay, never mind. Back to the actual topic. So, hi, friends. How are you? So I've spoken about this. I am a writer. I live in Los Angeles, California. So I, aspire to be someone who writes on TV. I've done some work that has been on TV, and now I'm basically aspiring to get back on it. It's such a testy business, and so you're basically always trying to get where you were or higher than where you are. That's just sort of the television industry. But hey guys, so I don't know if you guys have seen this. Have you guys seen that short film? It's called Stutterer. It won the Oscar in 2016. It's by Benjamin. I just wrote his name down. It's by Benjamin. I'll tell you 2 seconds. Benjamin. I've been watching so many shows lately. Benjamin. Let's see. Stutterer. Benjamin Cleary. Yeah. And so the only reason I knew that name is because I work in the industry, but I had no idea that I knew his name because he won an Oscar for a short film in 2016. It's like a really chill film. It's about a guy who stutters. It's about 12 minutes long. So if you find it, it's on, if you have a library card in the city of LA, I know a lot of you aren't in the city of LA, but if you live in the city of LA, you have a library card, you can watch it for free on canopy.com. By the way, there's 3 people watching. Hi guys, thank you so much, and thank you for the thumbs up. If you guys have any questions, please just put some questions in the question box. But it's a film about a guy. He's super like downtrodden, down on himself. He has like a really severe stutter, and he's talking to this girl online, and she's like, we should meet up. And so he's like avoiding. He actually took up learning sign language in order to help him communicate. And I'm not going to tell you guys the end because it's a short story, but like it's a full circle sort of film. And like, because I also write short stories, I know how difficult it is to make a full circle film, and that script was maybe like 10 to 12 pages. And so like it was very succinct, straight to the point, made you feel emotion where it should, and so on. But while watching it, I'm just like, oh, I'm so tired of like people who stutter being depicted as like this downtrodden, hopeless person who is just kind of like, oh, well, I'm just going through life and things are so hard and no one understands me and all this other stuff, which is like, there is truth to that, which is why I make these videos, which is why I, came online and how do you say your name? Mike Kisson? Hi. Ew, I just got excited because someone, yeah, okay. Yeah, hey. Which is why I make these videos, because yes, the life of a stutterer can be difficult, and dating is hard, and finding employment is hard, and all this other stuff is hard. But I feel like all of the films that come out about us, or all of like the any content that comes out about us, is first done by someone who does not stutter. Try to say my name. Your name isn't any, your name's not a name. Unless it is, and then I'm just a jerk. But it's Gus. Is that right? FDSGASFGAS. For the Gus. See, I'm actually pretty good at sound pronunciation. So if you're trying to get me, I got it correct. Thank you. But like I see all of these films and I see, all of this content that does come out about people who stutter, usually not written by people who stutter. Luckily, the King's Speech was written by someone who stutters. And so, but it still wasn't like a comedy. It was very much so a drama. But me, I write comedy. So, or at least my favorite genre is comedy. I write what you will pay me to write. Boop-de boop-de boo. But my favorite genre to write is comedy. Hello, stutter, but it doesn't bother me anymore. You stutter, but it doesn't bother you anymore. That's good. See, we need stories like that. Like, I have a stutter, but it's not the worst thing about my life. So I was just basically coming on here because I wrote this pilot. So a pilot is the first episode of a TV show. So like if you have watched a TV show over a number of years, it's most likely that that show was sold by that first episode that they wrote, which is a pilot. And with the pilot, you like introduce who all the characters are, and you know who all the people are, you know their like tragic flaw, what their main dilemma is, and it sort of like basically propels that story. So one of my writing mentors just wrote this film that came out with Pixar. And so he's like really like popping right now. And so like at the end of last year, I pitched him a series about a woman who stutters. And he was like, I like this idea. Write it up, send it over. And so I've had a few writing jobs this year. And so I haven't really been able to like spend time writing something that I personally want to write. But now I have that time. So I recently finished writing up this pilot. And it's about this woman who stutters. Now, before I even tell you guys like what this story is about, I just kind of want to like go over like why I wanted to write it. More so because I wanted to show a stutterer outside of the perspective of someone who doesn't stutter. Because I feel like most of the stuttering narratives that we get are written by someone who does not stutter. So it's like how they may get some of the experiences right. They may be in tune with some of it, but not as much as I would like. And like, I really never see myself in it because I feel like outside of the fact that I stutter, I'm still a fully formed human. You know, like my stutter doesn't make me some like a recluse who lives inside of my house by myself and I'm just chilling, waiting for someone to just like say hi. You feel me? But don't get me wrong. I've had those days also where I was like, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. There are 7 people. Guys, there are 7 people in my chat right now, and I have a tattoo of the number 7 on my wrist. And so we are in my like sweet zone. Hey, Slim. Can you call me? I think you're sexy. Thanks, Micah. Appreciate it. Can't call you. Can't call you. No. But thank you for joining my videos. Paris Barnes. Hi, this is cool. I hope your project goes well. Thank you. Me too. So I actually sent it to my writers group, and they're going to read it, and then I meet with them Monday. So I'm going to get back with you guys and let you know how it goes. I'm sure there's going to be notes because after you write a first draft of anything, there's going to be tons of notes because, you know, nothing is perfect the first time you do it. I'm going to try to angle me towards the sun because it's getting a little darker. Yeah. Okay, cool. And so like I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited about it. And I wanted to like write something that stutterers can watch and look at it and not feel bad about themselves and like laugh at how stupid fluent people are sometimes and just like not have to watch something and then feel totally like, well, yeah, this is my life. And I guess this is just the result or like, yeah, This is my life, and I can only find, you know, refuge in this little tiny sect of society. And that's not true. And that's not the message that I want to send out to fluent people or people who stutter. Because I think the more that we reinforce that, then the more stories like that will get made. And then the more people will believe that about people who stutter. Like, that's how media and messaging works with content. How did you get into writing? I got into writing, I think I told you guys this already, but like, I started out as an actor. I know why I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be an actor because I never felt heard as a stutterer. And I knew that when I stepped on stage with memorized lines, I could do it fluently. And that just always made me feel good. Like, that's the one thing that I could do right. And so I chose acting because of that. But the fact that I stutter and the fact that I have a severe stutter, though I am quite fluent at this moment, hello, is what was I saying? Wow. The fact that I stutter makes acting and being competitive in the field so difficult as a fluent person, because sometimes I just had to come to the terms with, like, there's so much that I still couldn't do next to a fluent person. And also, I just became really interested in having my own stories told. And so I became very excited about telling my own stories. And I think there was so much more power in being able to have fluent people say the words that I write. Like, I'm still having my voice heard. My voice is being heard even more now because I'm putting now all the words that I want to say into someone else's mouth and being like, say that. And so it even makes me feel even more powerful. I also want to be a writer because I know the power of media. Like, there's so many statistics surrounded with media that I don't think a lot of people know. Like, very people know that most of the television stations that exist right now are because there's so many new ones popping up. This statistic is changing a bit, but like 60% of all media is owned by one company. And so they can push out whatever agenda they have. They can push out whatever messaging they have. And messaging, especially with film and TV and news, is when you hear and or see something over and over and over and over again, it does tend to seep into people's subconscious. And I think that a lot of messaging has been biased. And that is why I've decided to become a writer, because I want to be a voice for the unheard. Yes, Slim, thank you. And I believe that a more nuanced perspective needs to be heard, and people want different things also. And so that's all sort of what got me into writing. Like, it was stuttering that kind of led me into it, but then I also have like this really a big need to just kind of fix the ills of the world. I've always fixed the ills of the world. I've always been a very like conscious person, very conscious of the environment and what we're doing to our landscape and the ideas that we push out against certain cultures and so on. And so I just really want to level out the playing field as much as I can with the words that I write. That was kind of a long answer, but that's why. So you actually asked the question that I was going to answer anyway. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Paris. Paris. Do I know you? I'm pretty sure I know you, right? So I even chose to like write something about stuttering because I needed to get it out. You know, like I write stories about people and experiences that I don't necessarily have all the time. Like I've written a pilot about like foster kids and them growing out of aging out of the system. I'm not a foster kid. I've never had to age out of a system. I could have lived at home for the rest of my life. I live at home now, but that's because my mom got sick, and so I had to. But like, I honestly, I could have lived here from 18 to now. My mom would never have kicked me out. She'd have been like, "This is my baby, you staying home." And so I write a lot about things that I haven't necessarily experienced, but I can draw from certain experiences of my life to still give give a truthful depiction of it. And I wanted to write something that I knew. I know stuttering very well. I know comedy very well, and I know stuttering very well. So the premise of this show that I wrote, and it's a 30-minute pilot, so it's like 28 pages. At the most, it'll be like 36, 38 pages, but I'll probably have to cut that down also. It's about a woman and I'm still like struggling with the story because I'm not sure if I want her to be someone who was fluent, who then had like an accident and then her stutter came on. I'm still kind of like struggling with that because that would create another layer of like, this isn't how I was and now this is how I am. And now I'm just trying to like deal with that and trying to live as an adult with the stutter. But it's absolutely about an adult who stutters, who's been asked to be the maid of honor at her best friend's wedding. And we all know that like being a maid of honor and wedding means that like you're pretty much head of everything. You have to gather all the girls and like schedule all the stuff and like all of that. But then at the very end, you also have to dun 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 give your like maid of honor speech. And then I also have that this same character is trying to get a promotion at her job, but her boss won't give it to her because she stutters, but he won't ever say like it's because you stutter, which is how a lot of jobs get around not hiring people who stutter or like not moving people who stutter up in higher positions. They'll use all of these code words that don't actually say because you stutter that way, you can't take them to court for discrimination or whatnot. And so I'm trying to put those two to get together. And of course, as the maid of honor, the person whose wedding it is, her best friend, has another bridesmaid who thinks that she should be the maid of honor. And so she's completely combative this entire time. And so my main character has to overcome that bridesmaid and also work towards getting her rightful position at her job. And so these are two obstacles that I put in her way that, you know, I'm forming in order to like create the story, but I want to create something funny. And I don't want it to be funny because we're laughing at the person who stutters. I want it to be funny because it comes from her as a character and all of the characters around us. But it's funny because we're laughing at, I think, the lack of awareness that people who don't stutter have, that people who do stutter have. Like, okay, so here's this one bit that I think is silly, may or may not stay in my script, but have you guys ever like been to let me name somewhere random, like a cheesecake factory So my character is at like a cheesecake factory, and she orders her food, and the waiter comes over with a pepper grinder, and he asks if she wants pepper, and she says yes. And so he's like grinding, and you're supposed to, say when you want them to stop, and she can't get the word stop out, or like when. And so like her plate is getting ruined because she can't. And this has actually happened to me with Parmesan cheese on a Caesar salad, and he just kept like grinding. I mean, shaving and shaving and shaving, and I was just like, God, this is going to be so horrible. This is going to be a cheesy mess. And like, this is a real life experience that I just think that people who don't stutter would never like conceive or think of putting in a pilot about a person who stutters. They would usually go straight to the laugh of having the person stutter and then someone making a joke, and then we're all laughing at this person who stutters, but for no real reason. And so I don't know. I just kind of wanted to play with that experience a bit. So you're conflicted in the scene. I'm not necessarily conflicted in it. I'm just trying to find multiple ways of trying to tell this story from a stutterer's perspective. So like when I was younger, when I would talk to my friends, whenever I cursed, I could say my words fluently. So probably between every 2 or 3 words, I would insert a curse word so that would continue my conversation. And it's not that I was just trying to like be a badass and curse. I was just trying to like get out what I was saying. And so I think that there actually was a moment like that in the King's Speech, which is written by someone who stutters. And so I just want to seek something with more of our perspectives, but I don't want it to be like drama filled. I don't want it to be like a sad, woe is me story. I want it to be an interesting, lighthearted, funny something you can binge watch on a Saturday when you ain't got nothing to do, if it's raining outside, and you can just chill and be like, yo, this is cool. Okay, cool. Fun. Of course, it'll have its moments because this character is dealing, with both acceptance, but also not allowing people to just kind of walk over them. And that's her personal trait. It's not a trait because she stutters, but it's a trait that she just has as a human. Oh, so I'm reading the comments on the side. So like not making the stutterer the butt of the joke. Exactly. We're not the butt of the joke. The joke is not about us stuttering. The joke, I wouldn't even say the joke, but like there are so many experiences that I had there are so many experiences that I have that are naturally funny because I stutter, but not funny because you're laughing at me as a stutterer. Like it's all of the circumstances put together that make it funny, but not like me, like, ha, that person stutters, ha ha. And that's just kind of how I've seen it depicted. Yeah, and so I wrote it because I want to feel understood. I want to increase the visibility of people who stutter in a relatable way. And I want to express myself. Like I write so much about things. The sun is down, the sun is gone. I'm sorry, y'all. I want to write something that I see myself in fully. And hopefully other people who stutter will see themselves in it. And like, there's such a large population of people who stutter. Like maybe almost everyone who stutters can see themselves in it. I know it's very female-centered, being that she's a bridesmaid in a wedding and maid of honor, but I still think that the idea of trying to get a promotion at your job and having to go to your boss and having them say no, and then you having to figure out ways to go around that to still get what you want. And what I like is that my character is not just giving up. She's like, all right, so you're saying no. Let me figure out these other ways that I can go around this and still get what I need, still get this promotion. Let me find other ways to prove to you that I'm good at what I do. So it's really not even about giving up. It's about resilience, and which is so prevalent in the stuttering community. I believe that everyone who stutters is so resilient because we literally we have to fight to get our words out. And just because of that, like, we have to keep getting back up. We get knocked down when we speak, so it's a story about a woman who's constantly trying to just get back off of her knees and back onto her feet. You guys like my nails? I wasn't trying to go Christmassy. I was trying to, like, I don't know, sort of like dark Christmas. This is like the look I was going for. I'm not sure if it worked. Like Halloween Christmas, like ho, like ho ho ho. Like a horror Christmas story. Did that work? No? Okay. It's red and blue green. So I was trying to not make them like green, holly jolly green. They're like blue green. They're like a dark, sinister green. And what do I want to accomplish with this film? I pretty much talked about all of this. Yeah, I pretty much talked about it. I got all my talking points out the way. Do you guys have any other questions? I'm glad that you really like me. Thank you. I think I'm a pretty likable person. I'm a pretty cool chick. I appreciate it. Guys, I'm gonna be logging off soon. Do you guys have any other questions, or do you guys want to say anything? I get excited when I'm personally involved in a community and I write something about it. And so I was like, what am I going to talk about today? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about the fact that I wrote a pilot that has to do a whole lot with the community that I try to, create, and that I'm a part of, and that I, talk to all the time. And so that's what I'm working on. And I get my notes on Monday. So I'll be back with a little bit of an update, but we'll have a whole new topic next week. I really appreciate you guys, but blah, 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 blah. Hey, Jacqueline, so proud of you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Man, life is crazy. One thing that I really want to end up talking about is like tragedy and trauma, because I went through this one tragedy once. Well, not once. I went through a really crazy tragedy that got my speech to a point where I couldn't speak at all. My stutter was so severe that I could not get anything out. I was at the point where I actually filed for disability for stuttering, because I was like, if I'm going to talk like this forever, there's no one that's ever going to be able to hire me. And then how I basically ended up coming back from that. And I'm not completely out of it, but like, I think that's going to be one of my next topics, because I find it just really interesting. And I think the fact that I knew that I had gotten to a point where I could even somewhat control my speech let me know that I can get back to that place. Let me read these comments. Hey, I follow you on Instagram. Hey, I'm also a young writer. Would you ever want to write a movie or play, regardless if it's about stuttering or not? I've written a few films. I've written features. I've never written a stage play. Oh, that's not true. I've written a stage play. I've written a short stage play. It was like a one act. So when I lived in New York, I started in theater. There's just something about live theater that I love so much. But because I live in LA now, I switched over to film because it's just a much more lucrative business, and I'm in the city for it. And like, it's easier to make a short film, put it online, than it is to have a bunch of people come and see your play. And so that's why I switched over. But yeah, I would absolutely write a play. And I've written features. Most of the work that I write does not include stuttering at all. But oh yeah, one of my short films was screened at the Apollo in New York with this year's Sundance winning film. And so I don't know. That makes me feel good. Like I'm out here. I'm out here, y'all. I'm out here. So I just keep on working at it. All right, my loves. I am logging off. I'm probably gonna go to the gym soon. I'm gonna make my mom something to eat too. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. The sun is all the way down now. You guys have a really lovely day, night. Peace. See if I end this stream. It's going to be weird because it takes a second. Are you ready to end? Yes.